subconsciously, I think that made me feel really insecure at some stages of my life. Welcome to this Get Ready With Me. I am currently in Colorado and I'm in this stunning hotel bathroom. It would have been a crime to not do a Get Ready With Me today in this room. I bought this dress for pictures in this hotel room because I had seen in advance that the room kind of had this very elegant look to it, and this dress is not typically something that I would wear, but I just thought that the pictures would be incredible and very aesthetic of this hotel. So we're gonna do a Get Ready With Me for this dress for pictures in the hotel. It has been forever since I've done a Get Ready With Me video. This is just like a moisturizer I'm putting underneath. It's Elizabeth Arden moisturizer with sunscreen. I just like to put moisturizer down under my makeup because it gives it a really dewy glow. Speaking of my last Get Ready With Me, it's been so long since I've done one, and I've actually sat down to film definitely one, maybe even two, because I think the last one I did was like literally last summer and it's November right now. I just think it's time to do an updated makeup look, an updated life update, and just hang out and chat. I usually go in with the Rare Beauty foundation, and this is the shade 260N. I'm gonna do a past like 6-month update because that's a lot of updates. I moved to Florida back in May. Like I said, it's November now. It's been so amazing. When I moved there, only knew one person who's my friend who I live with, and I didn't know anybody else. I just took this trip to Colorado and I visited home for the first time. In doing that, I was like, I want to really reflect on everyone who I've met and what I've done. I made a list of the people that I met since moving to Florida, and I wrote down 67 names in 6 months of people who I've worked with, people who I've hung out with, like new friends through my other friends. It's just really crazy to me because if I never took that chance to move far away from home, I definitely would not have met the people that I've met. They've all had such a profound impact in one way or another on my life, whether they be people who I work with, who had the same interests as me, or friends who I've now spent so much time with, or my neighbors who are my age, just so many people. And I guess the lesson that I learned from that is that take the chance and do something that might not feel comfortable, because moving pushed me to just make so many connections and meet so many friends who I love. And I literally would not know these people had I not done this and gone somewhere new. So if you're ever considering moving somewhere and you don't know people and you think it's gonna be scary and not gonna make friends, I think I've said this in a video before, like you will make friends and you're gonna make so many more friends than you think you'll make. All right, next I'm going in with the Tarte Creaseless Concealer. This is 25N. When I moved down there, I also didn't have a job. So I just looked for work when I was out there, and for 3 of the months that I have lived there, I worked in social media. I was working in social media marketing, and I loved it. That's where I met so many of the people that I know. I just got to do a lot of the things I love. I got to go on photo shoots. I got to meet so many cool people. I got to like design Instagram feeds, and I just loved what I was doing, and it was so amazing. But long story short, I don't work there anymore, and that was a very pivotal moment in my journey because I finally felt like I had a routine. I had been at this job for 3 months. I felt like I had my people, and I just felt really good about where I was at in that place. And then everything kind of just got ripped out from under me, and I wasn't working anymore, and I wasn't necessarily in a new place, so I kind of was at this blank slate. That kind of hit me a little bit harder than I thought. The week that it all happened was also the week of a giant hurricane and tornado in Florida, so it was just a really difficult time, and I had a really hard like 10-day span where I was just waking up and just the moment I woke up, I just started sobbing because I felt so lost. I'm 24 right now, and like I don't know if this is a common thing, and I feel like it has to be. This is the Rare Beauty concealer, but I use it as a bronzer. I don't know if this is a common theme for that other people feel this way, but I just felt like I was going through a major identity crisis, and I felt so lost. I felt like my head was spinning. I felt like for the first time in so long, I just didn't know what I was doing. Like losing that job really propelled me to be like, well, what do I want to do now? Like if I could do anything, what would I do? And I was looking for jobs, and I've always loved doing YouTube videos, and I was thinking to myself, like self-conscious about sharing on the internet, which I don't usually feel, but I felt like I wanted to come on and share my story, but felt like lost in what people would want to hear or like what I could share. And I just felt like I kept spinning in circles and my head just felt crazy because I literally just felt like I was having an identity crisis. Like I just felt like I didn't feel good about coming on and sharing things when I just felt like even in myself and in my own world, things were crumbling. I guess in a sense, I've reflected over the past couple of weeks, like now that I've been home, and I'm like, I hope that that in itself is relatable to other people, of just feeling kind of like, I don't know, I had this routine and I had this job, and I think in your 20s, for me at least, so many things just switched. Like in this year, I lived in a new state, I've had a new job, I've had all these new people, and sometimes when you have all these new experiences, I feel like it almost like pushes you into an uncomfortable place where you start reflecting on all these other aspects of life. This is the Sophia and Mabel Wet Blush. I absolutely love this blush. This was gifted to me and I need to thank them again for this blush because it is so amazing. Now, making this video, I felt like I've spent a lot of time, like probably the past 4 weeks, I've done deep self-reflection and I've thought about kind of like the person that I wanted to be and like who I want to grow into. And when I would wake up in the morning when I was still in Florida before this trip, I would spend like 5 minutes every single morning just putting on meditation music and sitting there and visualizing like what I needed to do in that day to get me closer to being the person who I want to be. I would just wake up and do that. And then I also would write down a gratitude list. And I know that is like one of the most cliche things in the book that people could say that they're doing when they're kind of going through something. But it really made me feel, I don't know if humbled is the word, but I just felt so appreciative of all the good in my life. Like it made me really sit and intentionally appreciate all the amazing opportunities and people and things that I've done over the past couple months. And even though I felt really lost and I felt very scared and not really in a good place, it made me feel kind of okay in that there is good. Like even when you're going through hard times, there's still good things. And if you at least just spend a little bit of time thinking about that, I feel like it makes those times just like slightly easier. And when you're in it, it's so much harder to see it. But then looking back, I'm like, I'm glad that I did that. I'm glad that I took that time, because when you feel uncomfortable, it pushes you into this new era of yourself where you kind of get to rebuild and define who you are. And it doesn't matter what other people think. So actually one of the things that I've been thinking about lately, makeup. I grew up loving makeup. I still love makeup. Going into Sephora is like going into a happy place for me. But I realized that I think growing up, I always was very influenced by my environment. I'm gonna use this Wet n Wild, it's called Nudecomer eyeshadow. I paid 75 cents for this eyeshadow. I think that because I was so influenced by my environment growing up as a kid, I always really idolized celebrities and people who were in pop culture, and I really like looked up to the people who were in magazines. In a way, subconsciously, I think that made me feel really insecure at some stages of my life, just being so young and idolizing these people and not feeling like I was that because I was young. And even though now I feel like there's a lot more developments in terms of like awareness around these topics, I think that now what I worry about and what I, would hope to be like a role model to younger people now is like, even though it's not so much magazines, I think that with social media and TikTok, it's so easy for young women to grow up seeing these filters or seeing all these other people and comparing themselves to what they're seeing and then feeling insecure. And I think this is just like a common theme around women. And in some areas, like sometimes it can feel so good and so confident and like so addressed. And then sometimes like there's days where it just feels like this is really hard. I think that when it came to makeup, something that I was just thinking about more recently is just trying to like feel more confident not wearing makeup and not wearing makeup. Not that I wear it even every day, and especially living in Florida, it's like I don't even really want to because I'm going to the beach and all these things, but I just really made it an intentional effort this year to try and feel way more confident when I'm not wearing makeup and really appreciating like natural beauty. And I think that I'm actually really excited because it feels like natural is in right now. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but I just feel like, it is a lot more like minimal makeup. I think that's good. I think it's so easy. Like when you're looking through TikTok, if you're ever looking at someone, just like see if there's a filter on that video. And I hope that like more women start to feel confident, not with filters and not with makeup and just being them. And like I still love makeup, don't get me wrong. That was something I personally struggled with, and it was just something that I have actively tried to work on this year, is wearing less makeup and feeling good doing that. The other social media thing that I was thinking about when it came to like sharing on YouTube or sharing on TikTok was that I was reading this book and it was saying how this is the first time that people's lives are being documented in the capacity and in the way that they were. Before this, I was kind of like the generation that grew up in Instagram, and before that, like people's, like our lives are just posted on the internet in such, or some people in such a different way. I think something that I was fearful of posting on the internet is that if I post this video and then 10 years from now I have this growth or I have this like new perspective, that this would be held against me. But then I remind myself, like the flip side of that, of like I am fearful of posting something that later in life would be like, oh, but you said this, and like contradicting. But I think that that's life, is you have to, I just got this on the bottom, you have to make mistakes, and you will learn new perspectives and new, hopefully you don't think the same way about certain things when you're older. So I've been kind of trying to make myself feel more confident about like sharing things on the internet, because I know that even though I'm fearful that one day I would be embarrassed by something I said or did, but I'm like that, like I want like this to be the video where I disclaimer that like life is where you're supposed to grow and make mistakes and learn new things and gain new perspective. So even though right now I might have my perspective and know what's best for me, in a few years like that might look different, and that's okay. Like it's okay to grow, and it's okay to expand your knowledge and have new perspective on things. Also, this is the Rare Beauty mascara. I had to remind myself that there are so many people out there. There are gonna be 21 or 20 women in their 20s who are gonna relate to this video so heavily about, you know, makeup and social media and things like that. And there's gonna be so many people who do not relate to this video. I think that I've kind of over the past week, what I've got the answer to that question that I've been feeling is that you kind of have to follow your own truth in life, and that nobody has all the answers. Like not one person knows it all. So you should just follow what's true and your own truth, because that's the only way that you're ever gonna feel fulfilled and passionate and live a life that you love, is if you listen to your own truth. Because if you're trying to be like somebody else or trying to do what you think society wants you to do, ultimately, like who's to say what is right and what is good? Like every single person has different lived experiences, and every single person has gotten them to a different place. And ultimately, like I think everyone should just feel comfortable being their like themselves. And that's what I've really tried to like focus on this year, is just being me and not putting so much pressure on like being perfect, and just being me and following what resonates with me. Because like I said, there's just gonna be so many people who are not gonna relate to this video. There's gonna be a lot that probably will. And you kind of just have to take that chance and trust it. And then I'm gonna go over with the Surfer Curl Tarte Mascara, just because I still like to layer all my mascaras. Those were a lot of the things that I kept coming back to, just like confidence and being yourself and just sharing on the internet. But I'm feeling a lot better, and I'm feeling in a lot better place with everything. I think it's just really scary because I had such a deep identity crisis that like when you're going through something and you feel like you have all these questions about yourself, it's hard to like talk about it in front of a bunch of people who you essentially don't know. So yeah, that's my like deep thoughts, and then I can go into a few fun thoughts I've been having. So I've also this year gotten a lot more into fashion. I'm gonna do like a different like look, like all the outfits that I wore on this trip in Colorado and Utah, because I also have just been finding so much peace and joy in putting together different outfits, and it's a lot of things that are different than what I usually go for. And I think that's kind of been fun to like step outside of my box. For the first, you know, half of my life, I grew up in New Jersey, and I was a Jersey girl to the T. I was hoop earrings and cheetah print. I fit in this stereotypical box, and I think that now that I'm growing up, I'm like, oh, like I want to try new things and new styles and new fashions and just like evolve, and that's been really fun. Okay, I'm just gonna do a few finishing touches now. So I want to do a little bit of concealer. I just want to like clean up under my eyebrows. I don't always do this, but tiniest little bit under there. I think it like highlights the brow bone so nicely. I know this is kind of like a rather deep get ready with me. It's just like what's been on my mind lately, and I wanted to talk about it in some form. Hopefully it reaches people who can relate to it and maybe have been struggling with identity or being in your 20s, or you know, just like having like some type of change that really like throws you and you feel really uncomfortable and not in a good place about it. This is the YC Collection eyeshadow But this inner corner, I think I used this also in my last Get Ready With Me. I like to put this in my inner corner. I'd use the Bobbi Brown Bronze Glow. I kind of put this over where I put my blush, and it's like a highlighter, but also just warms up the cheeks a little bit, gives them a little extra bronze. I put it on the tip of my nose, a little bit under those eyebrows where we just highlighted. And last but not least, my favorite lip liner in the entire world is the NYX lip liners. I have them in literally so many shades, and I brought all of them with me. Like I brought them all with me because I just love them so much. So this outfit, I think I'm gonna do this one here. This is my latest favorite. It's the shade beige, but it has this kind of like mauve coloring to it, which I love. I have chapstick on, so it's not really taking as well, but and then overlining the upper lip a little bit. Last but not least, the Sophia and Mabel tinted lip oil in Jellyfish. This was also gifted to me, and you can literally see it's like basically almost empty because I love it so much. It is this perfect shimmer that just adds the nicest touch to the lip. That concludes this Get Ready With Me. I don't know. Let me know if this resonated with you. Sometimes I think everyone goes through phases of their life where it just feels like you go through a little bit of an identity crisis, and I definitely feel like the past couple of weeks I've been going through mine. Let me know if you've ever had any of these similar thoughts, or if you just enjoyed this video. Please give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time.